Curiosity News from High Tech High School in North Bergen is proud to present Mr. Johnathan Hankins of the New York Giants. And now, your hosts Jenna Russo and Gabe Sanchez.
Good afternoon and welcome to Mad Studio News from High Tech High School in North Bergen, New Jersey. I'm Jenna Russo and with me is Gabe Sanchez, and today we have a special guest, Mr. Johnathan Hankins of the New York Giants.
Hello.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
We were really excited about this because we get to pick your brain and ask you things that we've always been wondering, really. It's a big honor to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so starting off, our first question is, did you ever think you'd be as accomplished as you are right now?
I always felt like anything I put my mind to or any goals I had set that I would be able to accomplish it with the help of, my parents, my brothers and my sisters. It helped me stay focused and to lodge in on the goals that I had run down, and I eventually, accomplished those that I really wanted to get to.
And at what age did you know that going into the NFL was a possibility for you?
I would say in high school, my sophomore year, my coach pulled me aside and told me that I had to not say I wasn't taking school seriously, but if I wanted to go to college and play football at a big level, I had to make sure I get my grades up and get them better to get accepted in college. And I kind of listened to him, and that summer I took some classes to boost my GPA, and from there on I just focused on school and focused on playing ball, and luckily I was able to get some scholarships to some big schools, and it worked out for me.
All right. So our next question is, if you ever hear a child say they aspire to be a professional football player, you don't want to discourage them, but at the same time you also seem to be unrealistic goals. Did a lot of people discourage your goals?
No. I feel like when you have personal goals, you kind of just focus on them, not really worrying about what other people say, because there's not their goals, and you can't really let people determine or dictate what you want to do in life. So I kind of locked in what I had. As a kid, I started playing football at 6 years old, and never really thought about the NFL until I got to high school, and that's when I really fell in love with playing football and locking in on that. And from sophomore to senior year, lifting weights and learning about what college is and going through the process. So I kind of just locked in and tried to figure everything out with my coaches and all my teammates, and then I got a better understanding of how everything worked, and it just really was a learning process through the whole situation.
And what was your childhood like? Was it mainly based on helping your parents, or coming home and doing what you have to do, or doing what any other kid does?
As a child, I really didn't have to do much around the house because I was the youngest of 11 kids. So I always had everything done for me. So I had older sisters, older brothers, so whenever I needed something, they always did it or got it done for me. So didn't really have to do much, but just make sure I had good grades, and started playing football at an early age, and that always kept me from doing bad stuff in the neighborhood. So I was always busy in the summer. I never really had a free summer to do anything.
So originally you're from Detroit. Did your hometown make a significant impact on shaping you as a person?
Yeah, it has. Coming from Detroit, in the inner city is definitely, was a challenge to, stay on the right path. But having, older sisters and brothers, they guided me in the right path and made sure I stayed focused and didn't fall into any traps or anything. So lucky for them and the man upstairs, I'm here today.
In your opinion, what was your greatest accomplishment and the biggest blessing by far in your life right now?
Well, I guess greatest accomplishment, I would say being able to go to college, getting accepted to, a big Power 5 college. And to do that coming out of Detroit was, not easy for a lot of people because, it's tough coming out, the inner cities and going to big schools, and getting there and maintaining and staying there for, 3 years that I stayed. I was lucky to leave early to go to the NFL and get drafted. So everything kind of stayed the course, and it was a blessing for me to be where I was at.
So what's your favorite offensive line to compete against?
Favorite? It's like a love-hate relationship. I would say the Cowboys. They're pretty good. I'm sure everybody know they're pretty good, but it's always a battle when you go against them. So we'll see how the next meeting goes.
So that means you like challenges then?
Oh yeah, I love challenges. I feel like our conference was pretty good this year. Everybody's winning. We're winning, so it's gonna be a tight race. We're gonna see how it ends out at the end.
I heard that you had surgery on one of your pectoral muscles. What was that like, and how was the recovery process?
Well, I tore it last year. I think the 7th game of the season. I tore it completely off the bone.
Oh my God.
So that took a good 7 to 6 months, and then after that healed up, I got my ankle done, which I had bone spurs in it, which wasn't too bad compared to my pec, but I had another surgery that kept me out 5 months. So it was kind of tough to get back to working out and running because I wasn't able to run because I had got my ankle done and I wasn't able to lift as much weight because I got my pec done. So it was a little struggle in the beginning, because everything was happening so fast, coming up so fast with OTAs and training camp. So luckily I was able to get 60% of my strength back and be able to be effective. So hopefully next offseason I'll be able to get back to where I usually be.
So growing up, assuming you watch football, what was your favorite team?
My favorite team would be, it wasn't the Lions, because I'm from Detroit. It wasn't the Lions. I was a Pittsburgh fan because Jerome Bettis, because he's from Detroit, and they was always good back in those days and never really cared too much about the Lions. I was actually mad because Barry Sanders retired early from the Lions, but I wasn't old enough to even see them play, so I think that didn't really matter. So.
Who had the biggest influence on you, whether it was negative or positive as a child?
The biggest influence, I would say my second oldest brother, James. He was one of my brothers that I looked up to. He played football, very hard worker, driven guy, and just looking up to him when I was a kid, trying to play football and follow his footsteps, even though he played safety and I played, offense and defensive line in high school. Always looked up to him to do good things, which he did. But he was somebody I looked up to in a negative way. I would just say, growing up, seeing some of my friends that I thought were my friends that, was doing, good things and sometimes did the wrong thing. So to have, the experience or the learning ability that I got from my parents to stay on the right path and not, go down the wrong road and do anything bad. So I had a good balance of, making the right decision or the bad decision.
It all comes down to that, really, though, if you think about it. Like, especially in high school, like what we go through on a daily basis, you never know who your friends are really going to be and who's going to do you dirty, who's going to be there for you in the long run.
Yeah, so, in high school, it's a learning experience. You're getting older, you trying to find out who your real friends are and, who's there just to be there. So it's all a learning experience and it's all life. So it's a walk of life you go through.
Okay. So if you could go back in your life and do anything different, what would you do if you had the chance?
What would I do differently? I would try to stay small. As I got older as a kid, I got bigger and bigger. I wish I could have stayed a little bit small so I could play running back or like receiver or something like that. Not eat so much.
Well, it's all really up to you. Like, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like when you grow, you grow. There's nothing.
Yeah, but I think I spent more time in the kitchen as a kid than
Me too.
regular
Don't even worry about it.
Don't feel bad.
I
It's all
love
of us.
this math. When you were our age, what kind of like mental and emotional place were you in?
It was, in high school, it was pretty intense because going, from my freshman year to all the way up to my junior year, I was trying to get my grades right and trying to get in school and that process of getting ready to try to figure out where you're going. It's kind of tough because, not all schools are looking for you or not all schools are paying attention to you, but lucky I had a guy named William Golson that was on my team that was, one of the top players in the state of Michigan. And with the opportunity he had, every coach that came to see him saw me on the film and eventually, had some interest in me and wanted to talk to me. So luckily having a guy like that had boosted my confidence and boosted my opportunity to get into bigger schools and, get offers that I ended up having like Ohio State, Florida and stuff like that. So that was huge.
What was the most inspiring advice someone gave you that you attempted to continuously apply to your everyday life, and what did you take from it?
I would say my dad. He always told me just to, focus one day at a time. Just, stay the course and, believe everything's going to work out. And I stuck to that, and to this day, I'm still sticking to that, because you never know what can happen, when you wake up. So you just got to be thankful for what you have in front of you and take, don't take any day for granted, and just, live your life as best as you can.
And besides the fans that tune into every game that you play, who do you feel is your biggest supporter?
Other than my fans?
Yeah.
I would say my family.
Your family?
And yeah, my family, my girlfriend, my teachers, people that got me to where I am now. And it's a long list, so all the people that helped me out in life, I would say, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to everybody that tuned into our show today. I'm Jenna, and this is Gabe, and this is Mr. Johnathan Hankins, and this has been Mad Studio News.